mind, and other things anyway. They come up with all our efforts. And it, in fact, the team effort that what would put here. Yeah. Uh, I'm asked to introduce machine learning. I'm happy to do that. Since we want to make the missions to learn, since we want to make the missions to learn, like what? Because we don't know how animals are learning, other birds and all, but we know little bit about human learning. Hence, we want to make the missions to learn like humans. Hence, any topic in this machine learning will be comprehended only if you have properly understood the human learning related to it. And this human learning is also not a constant one, it is evolving. Since there are several generations which I can cite how human learning is changing. In this course of changing human learning, what is the goal of the machine learning people? To which generation human learning would like to be adopted? That is in fact a big question. And the researchers at the primary institutions, they have certain goal which they want to aim at very first generation human learning, not the current generation of human learning. Once Professor Yajnanarayana, retired professor of IIT Madras, currently associated with IIIT Hyderabad, very neatly described several generations of human learning. In fact, he belongs to that particular area of Guntur district. Hence, he used to refer the earlier generations of learning, particularly focusing on a classroom teaching learning process. He was referring first generation learning as the teacher comes to the class. In those days, books are very rare objects. Even teacher perhaps may not have proper book, perhaps written something manuscript, and mostly they used to teach principles, theoretical knowledge, and having given these theoretical foundations, teaching the concepts very clearly, they used to test the students' ability to apply after proper understanding of this theory. That was the way of human learning took place in the first generation. So for example, he teaches for 2 weeks and then gives some 3 to 4 days break, saying that there will be examination the next week. You please prepare, but questions will be covering the problems too. But no problem, assume that no problem was discussed in the class, only theory is explained. Then you can imagine this situation of these learners, what they do. They themselves try to formulate some problem to which the said theory is applicable, and that formulated problem will be provided with some solution of their own. And students is got opportunity and training his mind on his own in formulating the problem and proposing the solution with the knowledge of the theory taught in the class. Maybe he may prepare very few problems on his own in that limited amount of time. It doesn't matter whether same problems have come up or whether how much he is successful in that examination, doesn't matter. Very rigorous theoretical knowledge delivery, opportunity to think of applications, providing the solutions. That was the effort in the first generation. Later, books have come up, and books have some exercises at the end, the second generation. And now, learning bit easy. Now, students have exercises. Still, let us assume that exercise problems are not touched up in the classroom. Still, theory is being taught. But for the examination, it is bit easy for the student that teacher may give the same exercise problem, though it is not solved, or similar exercise problems. Hence, now student is relieved from formulating the problem, but trying to solve the problems. This is second generation learning. The third generation books have come up. Theoretical concepts are explained. Certain example problems are solved. At the end, there was exercises. Then this is very easy for the students because they have some typical problems which are solved. Hence, if a student doesn't know how to solve a problem, he can look at that particular typical problem, and in the same lines, he can try to solve the problems. Third generation. For teacher also, it is easy. We can expect the students will come up with those exercise problems and example problems. You can put it. A lazy teacher may ask directly the example problem, or a tough teacher may formulate a similar to exercise problem. And now the current generation, the books and the classrooms, they give less importance to teaching, and books are containing, thousands of solved problems. Current day coaching for several competitive examinations cover a lot of worked out problems. Hence, even much before you complete the question, the student will answer the question because he is aware of that question, perhaps studied in one of the thousands of the problems trained. Is this human learning is being aimed to make the machines to learn, or the very first thing where they learn on their own how to solve the problems, and they connect the theory what they have learned to the problem whichever they encounter. Hence, that is in fact a big dilemma. Now, the people have aimed at the first generation learning only. Hence, with the problem with the current generation, they are exposed to a variety of problems. Hence, if a similar problem is asked, then definitely they can solve in a better way than any other person. This you can easily figure out what I am telling. This proper training of thousands of the problems will make a student to answer the problem very quickly compared to the first generation learner who thinks and takes some time to answer the question. Hence, do you say that the present generation student is better than him? Hence, this in fact can be taken as opportunity to tell later. I may leave this to the person who will be covering the overfitting and underfitting concepts in connection with bias and variance. Just I am leaving that aside. Hence now, such a student, if he comes to the PG and then PhD, after training in the same lines of learning, then just for the fun, I am putting another 1 minute. Once the PhD theory is over, then the student will go to the PhD supervisor. Sir, give me a problem. And then the supervisor may ask, what is this? You have to formulate problem on your own. No, sir. Throughout my life, someone gives problems. I don't know how to prepare the problem. That was the first generation learning. Now current generation learning always want problem to be given. Okay, somehow the research supervisor will give the formulate the problem and give it. Then immediately student will ask, is there any model problem or similar problem was already solved? by looking at that example problem, I can solve your problem. Because he has been trained in that direction. He always needs some example problem which is already there to attack similar problem, just replacing A with X and B with Y. Yes, that is the status. That is how the current generation learning is spoiling certain thinking process. In fact, taking away the true human learning uh, capability from the humans, but of course not all. In spite of you try to spoil some student, his original intelligence will be there. The student will have on his own his first generation learning, and he beyond the training he will try to solve the problem which is formulated by him or given by him, the problem which he has not seen during the training period. That is how you will not get into the underfitting kind of thing, rather overfitting kind of thing. Hence that is what we expected. Hence, I would like to tell that we want systems to learn like first generation human learning. Fine. Now, if you look at the definitions of this machine learning in many books, where we say that the machines learn on their own without any explicit programming. They learn better with their experience. This is one thing which you have to be very clear about, that which type of problems comes under machine learning problems. Hence, in the human beings, mostly, if you take a task and then you start doing the task, and if I measure with some measure and the value of that measure is improved with experience. Since you take the some examples, maybe cooking, driving, these are all you perhaps see that the way you do the task improves with the experience. Okay, hence this is one of the essentials of the human learning. The human, when he repeats the task and the task doing will be of better quality with more and more experience that he gains, he or she gains. Hence, the problems which are of this kind, should it be covered in the machine learning? Does it mean that machine learning techniques and approaches are applicable to this kind of tasks? That is one thing. Hence, initially people have started with such kind of tasks because those tasks comes under the human learning, and hence then slowly they are widening up because we are yet to know the high potentiality of the human brain and the human way of doing it. Hence, that's what they have started with such a task which in fact improves with experience are being considered to attack using machine learning techniques. Hence, now here, what do you mean by this gaining experience and thereby doing the task in a better way? Does it mean certain problems for which you write programs? Perhaps I'm referring the faculty who perhaps taught or have experience of, say, for example, some problem, something like your area of triangle, or solving a quadratic equation for its roots, multiplying matrices. Hence, does it mean that these problems and the algorithms which are written for this, are they machine learning algorithms? If they so, then if you write an algorithm for this kind of problems, you can claim that, sir, my algorithm is written for this problem. If you, what do you mean by experience? If you repeat this algorithm for 100 times, then only the algorithm will produce answer, but not at the initial stage. Is such kind of thing is there for those algorithms? Do they change as the person who is doing it, or the location where it is being uh, executed, uh, whenever data improves, or these things, does it affect the functioning of the algorithm? Hence, these are all, these kind of conventional algorithms won't come under machine learning. This is what we have to understand. Hence, not that every algorithm, whatever you think that I know, I have designed several algorithms, hence all such algorithm design I know, hence I can design machine learning algorithms. No. You need special training in designing machine learning algorithms. This is very important thing. Much before you bring your problem and trying to apply this machine learning, you should be very careful in this. But this particular, the way that I am telling may not be giving the clear concept. Hence, let me take which type of problems comes under machine learning. You take now an example of spam detection. Hence, the problem is you have to classify an incoming mail is spam or not. Hence, that is the project. Suppose your student is trained in this kind of conventional algorithms like area of triangle, roots of quadratic equation, matrix multiplication, computing eigenvalues, eigenvectors, and so on and so forth, or finding shortest path from a source, single source to several destinations, these kind of things. Hence, with that kind of training, if a student try to attack this problem, new problem, which is classifying whether an incoming spam or not, he may fail, because he is not exposed to machine learning. Then what this new machine learning techniques will train up the mind to attack this problem in a right manner, that we have to discuss. Now let me explain it in detail. Suppose you are a person, daily what do? You morning 1 hour you are spending looking at the emails in your inbox. If a mail is a spam, you are discarding it, rather removing it, and non-spam emails you are keeping in your inbox. This you have been doing it for the last 1 year. And slowly you are a big business person, slowly you may become big business person, and you may find that spending this much time for this segregating non-spam from the spam, that spending time may be difficult for you. Then you may approach me, sir, I need some fellow from your institution, any UG student, I want to hire him, so that he should do on my behalf, he should enter into my inbox and do this. Then okay, I may recommend one person, you are paying him 1 lakh rupees per month, he is doing it. You are training him, he is receiving training, well, he started working under you. Now you have another friend, maybe your high school friend, who is doing some other business. Hence you are doing business A and your friend is doing business B. Let us assume that quite contrary to your work. Hence, I mean by that, if a mail is spam to you, some particular mail one, if it is spam to you, the same email, if it goes to B, he may say that it is not spam, it is an opportunity for his business. You can really understand. Sometimes certain things you don't want to see, but there may be another business people who say that no, that email is an opportunity for me, it will improve my business. Hence here the question is, the same mail M1 is spam to a person A, but it is non-spam to a person B. A mail is spam in India, but maybe non-spam in some other country. Okay, understood? Hence this problem of classifying whether email is spam or not, it changes with the person, changes with the location. Hence you have to design an algorithm which is suitable for this problem. This is the complexity of this. This is where you have to understand that, oh, this is something, the characteristic of the machine learning problem. Now come on. Now what is happening with the boy I sent to you? He is receiving training under you. You are telling that if a mail comes from this kind of senders, or if the mail contains these words, this is spam, something you are training. Similarly, your business, your friend B also approached me, since you have recommended our NIT Warangal. Then I have provided another girl here, and she is also receiving training, and she is doing. After 2 months, I will visit your place, inquiring how my boy is doing. Then you will say, he is not that he is doing mistakes, but it's okay. Since anyway I can't spare my time, I want to continue. Similar experience your friend B also says that he is not fully satisfied, but he wants to continue her. Maybe after 6 months I will come to your place. Then you will say, now he is not doing mistakes, sir, he is doing fine. Same thing with B. After 1 year I will visit both the places. Then you will really appreciate, no, this fellow is doing wonderfully, sir. Even I would have not done this way. He has picked up a lot in the last 1 year. Beautifully he is doing. And he will also tell the same thing. What happened? The task of classifying the emails is done in a better way. If you have a measure, that measurable value is increasing with the experience. Hence with 2 months, 6 months, and then 1 year, 12 months has improved a lot. That is the point. Now, if I interchange, suppose I say after 1 year general I transfer the people. If that girl comes to under you, and then this boy goes to the other person's, your friend's location, then you can imagine, since she was trained under your friend B, she will throw all wanted mails into the spam. Hence you will be frightened. Now the issue is the human learning who has improved with experience under you. If he goes to another person, he is not working fine. Similarly, the girl who is trained under B, if it comes to you not performing well, does it mean that if you want to replace humans with the algorithms or the machines, the algorithm behavior is supposed to be different for different people? Hence, if Gmail, suppose, if Google wants to put write an algorithm for the spam detection, does it mean that if suppose it has some billion users, then does it mean that it has to write billion kind of algorithms? Hence for 10 people means 10 different algorithms. Is that way what you want? Or is there no program at all? That is what they mean by without any explicit programming, they learn on their own with experience and do the task in a better way. Hence this particular definition you have to properly understand, not just for the examination purpose. Hence what do you mean by that? There is no explicit programming. but they learn on their own. That is the beauty of the human learning. That's what we want the missions to do. Hence, this is what is referring to the first generation kind of learning. That is the only learning that is being aimed at the mission. Slowly we want to beat the humans. I don't know whether will it be possible or not. The thing, if I say that human thinking and human way of doing, hence one is doing, another is thinking. Your principal was replacing the people and thinking like humans and these things. Hence now see the human thinking. Hence if you generate an agent, if you an agent which thinks like human, do the task like human, hence all such agents will come in this particular quadrant. And you cannot prove that human thinking is optimal. Among human beings, you may be thinking better than me. Even my own thinking is improving with experience. That's what already I said. And next generation people may think in even a better way. Hence, human thinking is not optimal. Now, can we design the systems which can think optimally? Hence, optimal thinking, can it be do? Hence now if you can generate one agent which can think optimally, here only human way of thinking, human way of doing. Whereas here in this quadrant I want to put who can think optimally, do it in a human way. That is what. And then in this I want to take say optimal doing, and in this quadrant I want the agent which can think optimally, do it in optimally, because human way of doing may not be optimal. We are seeing certain missions do optimally, they cut the better than a person who is doing on a lathe mission. Hence the more precision and all these things are possible. Hence optimal doing is the goal. Hence we want ultimately once this AI and machine learning flourishes, we expect the agents who can think optimally on a given data and do that particular task, learn it and do that particular task in an optimal manner. This is the final goal of a machine learning it. Okay, with this goal that this machine learning in fact started. And I have tried to explain that the problem where the human learning kind of thing, the one which I have explained here, comes under the machine learning, and designing algorithms which are learning from this. Here I want to tell one point. Here, what do you mean by experience? Hence, what do you mean by a person who is classifying these emails gaining experience? Does it mean that after 1 year every fellow who works under you gains the same thing? It is not the experience in terms of months. Why the boy whom I have sent to you, Mr. A, why he did not perform in the first 2 months, why he has improved and what made him to improve himself in doing the task in time sequence 2 months, 6 months and 1 year. It means in 2 months the number of emails that he has seen is limited. In 6 months the number of emails that he could able to see are increased, and in 1 year many more mails. Hence, what is meant by experience here? Not the months, the amount of emails, the number of emails, the amount of data that he has seen is improving. It means, with experience means, as you see more and more data, you will your learning will be more and more complete. And then you can do the task within a better way. That is what we do. Hence, when you are at home, you know only your family members, all are good, they are very affectionate. You think that human beings are like this. Slowly, when you enter into the school, you know there are some good friends, some bad friends. And then when you reach high school and when you interact with more and more people in the society, now you know how to judge a person. Hence, here with experience means not your age in terms of years, the number of people whom you see and understand. Hence, the experience doesn't mean that. Hence, experience means the amount of data that you consider for learning. Hence, initial machine learning problems are all focusing on to learn it, you need more and more data. As data improves, your learning will be more and complete, then you can do the task. Whereas in these problems, what I said, you give small matrices or data is very less, my algorithm won't work. If you give larger matrices, larger size matrices only, my algorithm will work. Oh, you gave only few elements for sorting, my algorithm won't sort. If you give more and more data, then only my algorithm will sort. That is not the thing. Hence, you have to differentiate which problems comes under this machine learning and not. And you have to identify the dependency of learning on the data that has to be linked up with the problem. That you have to identify in the problem. Only such problems are to be considered. Why the data is crucial? And there is now another effort that are putting up that may come down maybe after 3 to 5 years to us. But now the effort is how is it required that lot of data is a prerequisite to learning. Suppose lot of data is not available. If I want to understand the tsunami, if not much data is available, but do you want to postpone it, let the tsunamis happen another 1000 years, then sufficient data will be there, then only I will understand tsunami? Is that way humans are doing? Sometimes humans with very limited data also they are able to do it. And sometimes when you have limited exposure, then you try to understand it. Sometimes your understanding may go wrong. It means you have exposed to very limited objects and the knowledge obtained using those objects you want to generalize it. The generalization sometimes may misfire, sometimes the generalization may work it. Hence, this regularization, generalization concepts are also brought into the machine learning so that how do you learn with limited amount of data? Hence, in which case the generalization will work and these kind of things that we have to learn. Hence, as a doctor, if you are exposed to very few kinds of diseases and that, can you say that now what is happening in Yeluru? Can you immediately attribute this, that? And sometimes that your suspicion and the suspect of this, it may prove correct, it may not. But how? How you will do it? This is the mystery. This is the very toughest thing what we have to do it. And also many times you are learning with the help of your supervisor. As a medico, you are in fact trained in evidence based. Your senior, your teachers took you to the operation theater, explained these things, and then you have picked up. Does it mean that you have learned everything because of your teacher? Or can you learn on your own without any teacher? Whether these things are learning on your own, learning with teacher are the only ways of learning. Suppose you got into a new environment and there are certain new rules and regulations which no one is teaching you. you are not immediately getting an opportunity to understand every rule there, how to live in that particular new environment, then what you will do it? You will start doing, and you may do some mistake. Whenever you do something wrong, you will be punished. And whenever that punishment has reached, then you will remember, oh, if I do this way, I will get punished. Hence, I should not do this way. And then you will know how to do it correctly. When something is done correctly, perhaps if suppose you are awarded, then you are happy, then you want to make those happy moments more. Hence, you want to maximize the rewards by minimizing the punishments. Hence, how as a human you are learning to live in a new environment, not doing the mistakes, but getting the more rewards. A new lady entered into a new family after marriage. She starts understanding the customs and the practices of that house. She would like to please everyone with her good doings. Hence, she don't want to do what mother-in-law, father-in-law, or husband or other family members don't want. Hence, she want to do whatever the good things. Hence, humans are learning in the new environment. This kind of learning also another kind of learning. Hence, you understand human learning. Human learning is the only guide for you. Hence, this kind of learning called reinforcement learning, in fact, pick it up. The one what you was citing, your principle, the robotics and all, when you want to provide an agent which will learn on its own by reinforcing himself into a new environment, by maximizing the rewards and minimizing the punishments, that comes under that reinforcement learning. There sometimes your supervisor and supervisor may not work, and you should know which kind of learning is to be applied. Hence, for all these things, the moment I said the data is crucial. Why the data? Why is this data? Why data is crucial? You. Hence, what is this data? Why, where from this data has come? Why data is crucial in machine learning rather than computer domain? See, there is something called another word, information. Hence, humans are always interested in knowing about others, other things, neighboring objects. When you have sea, you want to go to that sea and understand something there. You have a forest, you want to understand what are the things available in the forest for you. If you have neighbors, you want to know about them. Hence, every human being is interested to knowing about others and other things, not interested in knowing about himself or herself. If you know about himself and herself, then it is the inner things, that is spirituality, it leads to that. Hence, always we want to know about others. Hence, when I want to know about you, what I will do, I will start talking with you or requesting you, please inform about yourself. Then you will start telling that I am so and so, I did my MBBS here and MS there, my interest is this, my area of specialization. Fine, I heard about you. And I will ask about the second participant, third participant. And so that I see now nearly 276 participants, I will listen to you directly, say, for example. Then I got information about 276 people. Hence, through my input organs, I have taken the information. This information taken directly from you is in my system, in my memory. Hence, my brain can work on it. Now, if you start asking, how many are from Guntur region? How many have done their masters in this so-and-so specialization. Hence, some queries if you put, I can tell these 10 people, these 3 people, these 4 people are that. It means I am able to process that information and answer the queries to you. I got information about all these participants. Similarly, there is a person in USA. He is seeing flowers in some garden nearby his house. He got that information about the flowers in the garden by directly looking at them. Now, can he transfer that knowledge, or in some way can I get that information though I won't go to USA and see those flowers directly? Then the way is, I may ask my friend to write a report on the flowers, assuming that he can well describe it. Then I got some 1 page or 10 pages of information on flowers. Now the point is, the information what he wants to tell is put in a document. Now if I read this document, I will get information about the flowers. Same thing I can do with you also. Since I am unable to directly talk with you, I can ask you, come on, I will give you a format. Okay, my name is this, my specialization, so on. Okay, one person has spoken like this is good. I will say that in the same way, all of you prepare the documents and send it to me. Then you have sent 276 documents. I will now, the information which you want to tell me directly is now got into 276 pages. Now if I go through these 276 pages, it is as good as listening to you, if I can, and if you can put it in the document properly. These are the assumptions. Since when you can put it in the document, when I can understand the document properly, the work with directly dealing with you and reading the document, both are equal tasks. Hence now what happened, the information is hidden in this character data. It is written in terms of sentences, words, sentences and pages. Hence therefore, what is the other form? One is information you can get directly. The other way is information can be stored by means of data. And now, how do you store this 276 pages of information about the participants? Since it is a word, do you want to say that open one word file for each of the participant, 276 word files, type it into the system so that computer will have information about these 276 fellows? Is it optimal? Then the question arises, when it comes to the optimal, okay, let me think, sir, okay, don't create 276 files, one file containing 276 pages. Okay, is it optimal? Then you will look at the one page with the other page, you will compare it. Oh, here my name is X and I studied in so and so college with the other specializations. In the other also, my name is Y. Oh, then you will note the difference. Oh, here my name is X and here my name is Y. My name is of course the common thing, but very crucial point is the name. Name is a feature that is changing from a person to person. One person name is X, another person name is Y. One person date of birth is something, other person date of birth is something. And specialization. Hence you will identify this kind of features, the features which are changing, hence name, date of birth, specialization and so on and so forth. Now for each person I have a row. I have built a model where you can put the data. Hence this is also character data, but optimal way of storing it, you design some data model wherein this the same character data which is taking more space can be optimally stored here. Now reading those 276 pages, and processing this 276 lines of data in some relational data model. This is also same thing. Hence, the optimal data models, how do you put the information in the data? This was started. Hence, initially, the people have focused on the courses which generally play between information and the data. All your databases and management information systems, these are the things. Hence, here, one thing is these features. Hence, how do you extract features as far as the objects are concerned? The features are crucial. If you take unnecessary features, what will happen? If the features taken for into a model, if they are not sufficient, what will happen? Hence, you should be very careful in extracting necessary and sufficient. Hence, you have to convince me that so and so feature is very much necessary and all the features put together are sufficient for your study. Hence, when you say that as a doctor, when you say I want this particular parameter, say BP, I don't know your things, and you want this test should be done, and you are taking those parameters. Hence, you should convince me that whatever the test you are doing is necessary for your diagnosis, because that particular parameter is required for you. And have you taken all the things that is sufficient parameters before diagnosis? Then only your diagnosis will be complete. Hence, the data what is focusing, hence data is nothing but the values of the features. Hence, for each object, hence object 1, hence object ID if I take, object 1 has values for these features. And features are necessary and sufficient. Hence, now the question arises, how do I know that suddenly I will pick up certain features? Is there any way that I can check whether all the features are necessary or not? How to remove unnecessary things? Do all put together, are they sufficient, or should I think of more features to make this set as sufficient set? This is one of the discussions in the machine learning. Hence, feature engineering, feature extraction, dimensionality reduction. These are all the things which are going to be covered in this. Hence, this is one of the crucial topic. And of course, there may be talk on deep learning where we will be knowing that how you will apply the CNN to extract the necessary and sufficient features, or the old conventional methods are taken that and applying PCA and reducing the dimensionality. Reducing the dimensionality doesn't mean just remove unnecessary things. What do you mean by feature construction should also be explained. Hence, this is one point. Now, when people were doing this, they were not fully happy. As the initial generation of the people, computers, scientists, they focused on these things, but still those researchers were not much happy. Why? The way that we are storing information in terms of data and processing the data to get back the information. Hence, information is stored by means of data and data is processed to get back the information. This play somehow was not natural. Hence, if I go to a hotel and if sambar is good, maybe that area people say very good sambars are in that Gita Cave or say Ananda Bhavan, but still I may say no, this is not the sambar. Then everyone will stare at me. Why I am saying it is not good sambar? I am comparing with my mother's sambar. Hence I am exposed to that. I compare with that. If it is not that same sambar, I say sambar is not good. And something which is natural to me, it means the way the humans thinking, my way of thinking it. If my way of getting knowledge about other things, if that is not being properly taken here, then I feel unhappy. Hence, then people started thinking about how humans are learning. Then they have created a word called knowledge. Hence, now how this knowledge can be obtained, that started. Hence, why knowledge is required? To take some decisions. Hence, when I want to know the path from here to Bapatla or from here to Hyderabad or here to my friend's place in the other village, then I need knowledge about the path. Hence, when I travel through, oh, I am crossing Krishna River, I am crossing Tenali Bridge and entering into this, that, Ponuru, that, this, no, that way I want to remember, or like in the Google, you take 10 kilometers, then take left turn 90 degrees, this way, that, in that way it will remember. Now you see, you recollect it. The path from your house to house or in another village, your friend's house in another village, then how you will remember? You are coming out of your colony arch and then you are coming out of the village, some paddy fields and crossing some small river and then entering into a small forest area and then some industrial complex, ITC, this kind of thing, say in Chirala, and then you will enter into a lot of the cloth market, and then crossing that you will enter into a colony arch and then you reach your friend's house. It means you remember these patterns which are paddy fields and the forest, this, that. Forest means collection of trees. In Bapatanjinka also there are trees. Then I say that is forest. The question is the objects which are predominant. The forest are rocks, snakes and all, but predominant objects are trees. Hence when we look at it, we look at the predominant objects and then the similarity we extract and thereby we give the label to that particular geographical location. Oh, this is forest, this is administrative, this is college, this is industrial complex, this is housing area. Hence that's how we are labeling it. Hence now the path from your house to your friend's house, you are remembering it as sequence of patterns. Hence in the data you have to extract patterns. Patterns only will be stored in the mind. It is not the data. That you have to understand it. That you can easily figure out why data is not directly being stored, why patterns. See, suppose you are reading a book, the author would like to convey some information to you. Author has converted information into data, character data, wrote a book. And you are trying to read that book and data and you got the information, the same information what author would like to convey. And now once again this information converted to data stored in your mind. When these are all taking place in a proper way, author converted information to data. That's why you got the character data in the book. You have read the data, you got the information. And now once again that information converted to data and stored in your mind. Means data in your mind, data in the book, both are supposed to be same. Is it same? No. Does it mean after reading this book, looking at the character data, what is being stored in your mind if not this data, if not these words? If I ask you, come on, write about that particular concept, you are writing in your own words. The meaning of your words, meaning of the words in the textbook, both are implying same. You can establish equivalence. Then if not this data, what is being stored? You have extracted patterns from this data. Hence pattern extraction is crucial in having this. Now what is there in my mind? Whatever I am speaking, is it there in some textbooks? I'm taking one by one line by one line. Hence, I have some patterns. I'm interpreting those patterns with my capability of communication and expressing that I have some knowledge on this topic. Mostly you will look at this. Suppose in the examination, sometimes you may be struggling to get something about the last two lines of the previous page. You remember what is there in the next page and up to those two lines of the previous page. You will struggle, sometimes 10 minutes you will spend for those two lines. Suddenly you get, then you will be writing in your own words. The one what you are writing after recollecting, is that same as of those two lines? No, it's equivalent to that. Then it means what is stored there. Why you could not recollect? One particular pattern related to those two lines, in fact, are deeply somewhere stored. You struggle to recollect, finally you are succeeded, and you are extracting pattern, you are interpreting, you are writing within your own capability of writing. Hence, the whole the character data, the book what we have read or concept, is somehow the patterns are extracted that are being stored. This is the thing finally we have to understand. Will the human beings will be capable or will they successful or not? I don't know. But always humans, they extract patterns. Hence, the crucial point is to get the knowledge, you have to extract it from the data. What you have to extract? You can't extract directly the knowledge, you have to extract the patterns. Hence, the whole machine learning try to extract patterns from the data, and the patterns are interpreted for the knowledge. Knowledge is used to take some decisions. Knowledge is useful to describe certain objects. If you have knowledge about varieties of granites, varieties of some aqua thing, then you can describe them. If you know about birds, you will describe them. Hence, if you have knowledge, you can take decision, you can describe, you can use them to do certain tasks. And then this entire learning is producing patterns. The goal of learning, following some procedures, aimed at producing patterns, extracting patterns from the data, and thereby deciding or describing, having sufficient knowledge to do a task. When it comes to the task, as an automobile engineering student, you know how an automobile functions. But the moment when it comes to the driving, yes, I know when I have to apply brake, when I have to move my steering and all. But to do that, I need legs, I need hands. Hence, just if I have thinking capability, that is not enough for me to do the task. To do the task, I need something organs like hands and this. Hence, the other part, that is AI minus ML. Hence, AI is a broad area within which ML is focusing on extracting this, discovering the knowledge hidden in the data, extracting patterns by learning from the data. That is focusing in machine learning. Once machine learning gives that, to execute the task with the decisions taken, with the knowledge obtained from the data, the other things are to be there. That is being covered in the outer part of the ML, but within AI. And this learning also can be done in several ways. One may be, you may be thinking that, yes sir, the human people, the medical people, they will tell that there are biological neurons. The neurons, with the help of this input organs, this data, what is being, my eyes are seeing and my ears are listening, they are all giving that to the neurons, and then there are many neurons which are interconnected. They are all participating in storing whatever we see. And when I see once again, I will recollect, oh, he is Mr. This, oh, this is so and so flower, this is so and so fruit. I'm able to do means once again when I see that I will do it. My neurons are participating in this computation and recognizing that particular object. Hence, there should be neural network to learn. Then since we cannot, computer science people cannot create the biological neurons or nor you, then we thought that, oh, when computation is important, okay, let me take a node which is capable of doing some computation, and we consider each computational unit as a node, and that node I call it as artificial neuron. I will take multiple such nodes, I will configure them in some way and interconnect them. I will set up one neural network. I will start making that neural network to learn from data. Hence, I will feed the data. I will train that neural network to learn, to recognize whether it is a apple or orange. Then once it is successfully done, slowly learning took place, then that particular black box kind of thing, that neural network can be used. Is that only input layer, output layer, one hidden layer sufficient, or several hidden layers are required? What kind of neural network learning is going on? When deep neural hidden layers are used, then what will be the complexity? Now, these are all the issues. Hence, there are many algorithms. Sometimes the PC and all nearly 1 century ago they published certain algorithms are very old. Though this subject is a little bit deeper roots, long history, now of course the research is still continuing, new things are also being discovered. But why now suddenly this becomes buzzwords and now they got importance? Now one thing is lot of computational power is available. As I said, with more and more experience means more and more data is now available, not earlier. Hence, these machine learning algorithms, as we want to automate everywhere, digitize it everywhere, when we want to say that the machines start collecting the data from the sensors, now you have sufficient data to do learning and make the machine to learn. And then now there is lot of scope in some field, in many fields in fact, where you can make that learning to be. Whereas earlier the data was not that sufficient, computational power requirement was also not that available. Hence, these are two things, and interest of the industry replacing human beings with these machine learning based agents, that is also picking up. This is why nowadays people are very much interested in this. Of course, as I have already put in the 4 quadrants, once you have a mission which can classify the things, like you are classifying, you are bringing the vegetables from the market and pouring it on the ground and asking your child to segregate and put ladies fingers in one cover, drumsticks cut and put in that, and tomatoes, potatoes separately in covers and put it in the refrigerator. Your child is doing the same thing. If you can get it done by a robot, that your principal is suggesting that robots will assist, then if robot can do it, and robot can classify the things, recognize the things, then definitely your child may get tired. A person who is at airport may recognizing whether it is normal things in the bag or a bomb is there or unwanted thing is going to be into the cabin of the aircraft. A person may get tired, but if I keep a mission, and that mission won't get tired. The operation I can do it. I can optimally do it. It can optimally think it, but it requires a lot of training. Like you person looking at various objects, having full understanding of so many objects. Are you able to say that this object is dangerous or non-dangerous? Can it be safely carried into cabin or this or not? The decision you are taking, same capability should be given to the system. This is finally what we are going to achieve it. Hence, for this, we have, as I cited in between, there are so many learnings that are coming up.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Ramakrishna.
Sir, shall we go for the queries answers session, sir?
Okay, then it's fine. Otherwise, I thought that if there is another 45 minutes, I can take some specific topic and I can deliver. Anyway, I will go for that. Yeah. First, let me.
Dear participants, would you like to ask any question? Please it on chat.
Yeah, you can look at the chat. I can also look at, but I may not be visible.
Sir, actually, one issue, sir. Whatever writing on blackboard is not visible, sir. So this is one of the
Oh, okay, fine.
frequent. If participants does not have any doubts, we can go ahead. Yes, sir. I think that is only the issue, sir. They mentioned
Right. Okay. Now this session is up to time?
up to 12 o'clock, sir.
Not all. Oh, maybe in 10 minutes, only 10 minutes, fine. Fine. Yeah, I was referring this training and recognizing something, hence relevant to that. Uh, some topic I can take. Hence, classification. I have written on the board. I hope it is visible. Now, what is this classification? Someone can say that it is an activity, or I consider it as a knowledge. Since I say classification is a knowledge which you can learn it, means this knowledge you can obtain it from the data. You learn from the data and get this knowledge. Why this knowledge is required? For which activity, for which task this knowledge is useful? The task is classify objects. Suppose if I ask, come on, classify the objects. Means to classify the given objects. To classify the given objects. If I ask you, come on, classify these given objects, then you require classification knowledge. If you do not have classification knowledge, you cannot do this task. Hence, the task is classifying the objects. Now, what do you mean by the activity classifying the objects? See, what do you mean by cooking? What do you mean by driving? What do you mean by classifying? Drive, throw, eat, classify. Now, what do you mean by classify? Classifying the objects. The activity classify. Specifying the class to which the object belongs to. Hence, what we do? We specify the class to which an object belongs to. This is what we mean by classifying. Hence, classifying means specify the class. Specify the class. If I show you an object, if you can specify that this object belongs to chalk-piece. Chalk-piece is a class to which this object belongs to. I will show you a thing. Then you are saying it is potato. Means this object belongs to the class potato. Means you are specifying the class to which the object belongs to. That is what we mean by the activity classifying. Is this a machine learning problem? Then you think, oh, I am specifying whether it is potato or tomato, orange or apple or banana, whether my way of telling these classes improved with my experience or not. You question yourself. Again, the question is here, experience doesn't mean that your age. The experience means more and more data. Data means, again, I told already, data means for each object, the data is nothing but the values of certain features. Hence, when I say more and more data, more and more objects, have you seen enough number of fruits and vegetables? And as you see more and more vegetables, more and more fruits from your childhood, when you were young, when you were very child, you know a few fruits and vegetables available in your village. Then you went to town, you came to know there are some other vegetables, fruits, maybe cabbage was not there, carrot was not there in your village, then you came to know those things. And slowly, with your age, you are exposed to several more and more objects, more and more data. Hence, you are learning more. Hence, this problem definitely is improving the task. The task is classifying the objects. This task can be done in a better way with more and more experience. Hence, I was referring that a particular agent in the airport scanning the baggage, to verify whether any unwanted objects are kept in the bag, cabin bag or whatever that, then it requires that mission should know about various objects generally people carry, or the objects which are dangerous. Suddenly now we may take something which is completely different. Suppose you go to for an airport where generally that particular country people never carry pickle. Now suddenly you are carrying pickle, then that will confuse. It will say that this, I never seen this object, I am unable to classify. It will give a warning, then that fellow will open it. Oh, this is pickle, it is okay, this is non-dangerous, it can be carried. Then that it will teach that mission will expose it. Now a new item is being learned. Hence, if that new item comes in future, it will consider, oh, okay. Hence, with experience, it has learned. It has seen a new object. Hence, when it comes to this, in this direction, I can justify that, okay, this is a machine learning problem, as it is fitting into the framework what I said. Now, how you obtain this knowledge to do this task, classifying, that is specifying the class. How you came to know that this is potato, tomato, apple, green? Who taught you? Your mother? Your friends? And slowly, starting with training, receiving training from mother and then others, you have acquired this classification knowledge and applying into the real domain. If you can understand how you underwent the training, then in the same way you can allow the mission also to undergo. If you can tell that this is the procedures that is happening in my system, that is in my body, these changes are happening in my brain is working in this style. When my mother was training me, I can put this is a procedure. The same procedure you can put to the mission. If you can understand how you are learning, then you can make the mission to learn. Hence, there are so many approaches people have provided to this particular problem. But always this learning is happening because of someone else, your mother, father, or others in your neighborhood. Hence, always some supervisor is required to do this, to know the classes of the objects. Otherwise, you cannot give your own name for an object. If everyone is calling tomato, you cannot call with something else. You have to call with same tomato. It may be variants. I may come to your area, they may say takkali something, and if I go to some other place, they may call something ram monakkai, something. That is a different story. Variants are different, but still I should know it. Variants of vegetable objects, I should know it. Everything I am learning because of some supervisor. Hence, this learning comes under supervised learning. Whereas, if I take you to a new planet, suppose you are the first person on a new planet, Mars. You are the first person. You have landed on Mars. There are so many fruits and vegetables. You want to know about them. You want to get knowledge about those fruits and objects. You have obtained knowledge about fruits and vegetables in this on this earth. Now you are shifting to Mars. You are the first person. You want to know about it. Then you will eagerly look someone who can tell the name of the fruit. But you will recollect immediately, oh, I am the first person. No, there is no person who can act as supervisor. Hence, you have to learn about them on your own. Like sometimes you learn because of teacher, sometimes you learn in spite of teacher. Same thing now you have to learn on your own. Then what you start? You observe and try to keep similar objects in one group. Even slight dissimilarity will put in the other. In what way? Similar means what? The features you will extract, maybe shape, color, taste. If some objects are having same shape, same color, same taste, okay, you want to call with some name. You are the person who is giving label to that. Suppose you call it as a tomato, fine, you are the person who is naming. Now onwards it will be named as tomato, and your children, your grandchildren will use that word. That's how we start labeling the objects. Hence, this supervised learning takes the labeled objects and their data. Hence, you are considering the data of the labeled objects. Every object has some label, which we call it as class name, that class label. And given these labeled objects, you are trying to learn out of it and then decide the shown object, the object that is given for testing, specifying its class, is called the classification problem. Whereas you get on to the Mars and then look at unlabeled objects, such grouping we call it as clusters. Hence you group the objects and give label there and then use that knowledge for some purpose, that is unsupervised. I was already referring, there is something called reinforcement learning. And these are broadly, if one can cover these things. And how do you take each task, say this classification or something, this recognition, how do you do with the help of the neural network, particularly deep learning?